All right. So a little background is that this was done in 1971, released in 1971 through the Mormon Church, the Brigham Young.
Brigham.
Yeah.
BYU.
That one. Not bring them young.
Brigham Young. Welcome to the Redacted Apostate. My name is Nicole.
And I'm Carl.
And today we are back on Mormons. Third week in a row.
The gift that keeps on giving.
And they keep on giving because there is a new Hulu documentary coming out about soft cheating among Mormon influencers. Ooh. So it's coming.
Soft cheating.
Soft cheating. They have a word for it, and honestly, I can't remember what it is. Kind of cheating, but not really cheating.
Got you. So it's cheating, but not in the eyes of the Lord cheating.
Yeah.
Right. It's just another form of let's find a loophole around our bad behavior.
Yeah.
And justify it within the eyes of God.
Yeah.
Got it. Cool.
I'm excited. It's supposed to come out this Labor Day weekend, so we'll discuss that.
Yeah. That should be fun. Mormons cheating. That is definitely on the top of my list of things that I want to discuss.
Yeah. Well, this one's just as odd. In the Salt Lake Tribune was an article earlier this month about the Latter-day Saints and cosmetic surgery.
And like they're getting cosmetic surgery?
Yeah. So the rumor is that there are more plastic surgeons in Salt Lake City than there are in Los Angeles.
Per capita or just in general?
I think
both. Jeez.
And apparently when you go through their like local neighborhood magazines, half of the ads are from plastic surgeons and lawyers.
Yeah.
I guess divorce lawyers.
I guess.
I don't know.
Like, how do you get divorced? But I bet they have some sort of legal loophole that they would do for divorces so that you can make it legal, but not looking bad
so you still look good
in the temple. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. That seems legitimate, you know.
Well, according to the article, there's a billboard that says, "God's remodeling his temple. Isn't it time to remodel yours?"
I don't have a temple.
Oh. Well, I think they meant your body temple because that's what Mormons believe.
But see, like I go for the community standard of temple. Your temple is made out of hamburger meat and it's rotting.
So it's time to remodel. How about just put it in a refrigerator on ice?
God, yeah, seriously. Like at this point, cryogenic freezing is the only thing that's going to help this body out. I've abused it for way too long.
Yeah. According to the article, in Utah is the highest Googler of breast augmentation. So I don't know, a lot of weird.
That seems like a way of getting around the porn blockers. To be honest,
another dude said that. I don't know.
Oh, really? Like, well, I kind of overheard that, but I didn't know he was referring to that. Now, I would imagine that the majority of it is women
peer
that
pressure.
Yeah, or women that are looking up who's the best in Salt Lake.
Who's the best in Salt Lake?
Salt Lake City. Who's the best breast augmentator in the area? Yeah.
But it's a weird thing though because
it's the thing that I don't equate. You know, like in my brain, I don't equate Salt Lake City Mormons with plastic surgery and breast augmentation.
I think a lot of people don't, but when you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I think there's some things that happen within Mormonism that I get it. I kind of grok it, but the main reason that I also don't equate plastic surgery with Salt Lake City is because I don't think about Salt Lake City at all.
Right. Do you think about Tijuana?
I actually think more about Tijuana than I do.
See, that's the real...
Because I go to Tijuana for a good drink. You know what I mean?
And that's the real metric. I want to know, per capita, does Tijuana have more plastic surgeons than Salt Lake City? I'm actually more curious about that.
Yeah. Because at least Tijuana, I would go for a nice cup of coffee and a drink.
And
the two things.
and a mommy makeover.
Yes, because I care about mommy makeovers. You know, no cryogenic freezing. That's all I care about. Like seriously,
Okay.
like freeze this body, and then in 50 years, when they come up with some new invention, then thaw me out, and I mean, it'll just be a human head, but whatever. You know, you can put me into a big robot, and you know, it's a Dune thing at that point. Well, anyways, let's move on from that. Mormons and Dune. I mean, why not?
Why not?
It's all a Jesus figure anyway. So,
Well, it's a weird culture, and I've been thinking since I read the article. I've been thinking a lot about it. Growing up there, and having friends there, I didn't think I was pretty at all.
Yeah.
Not at all, and that was okay. It was just life.
well, a lot of kids in school also, like, you know, in middle and high school, don't think that they're pretty. That's
Yeah, I guess.
pretty kind of common thing. There's a lot of pecking order in schools.
Yeah, I guess that's it. But because I was not blonde haired, blue eyed, I was never even asked
Well, then
out.
you're not blonde haired? What am I doing with you?
I have gray hair. And I always felt not pretty at all. And even when I was in my later teens, 18, 19, I was traveling in the Philippines for the Jehovah's Witness Church. And that was the first time any male human, I'm talking like JD Vance here, any male showed any attention to me.
Other than trying to sound like they're ordering donuts from you.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hello, female human.
Yeah. In Utah,
You are pretty.
in Utah, absolutely nothing. Like no one had ever even shown any remote interest in
Was
me.
it because they knew that you weren't Mormon?
No, it was because I didn't look that way.
You didn't have the Barbie doll kind of look.
Yeah, I wasn't
Yeah.
blonde hair, blue eyed. You had to look a
Right.
certain way. So to
It
reiterate,
feels like very Aryan kind of.
oh, it was. So and I know I've told you the story, but this is the story that I tell people to describe the culture. My best friend was Chinese in school.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely beautiful. I mean, she had this black hair that was like flowing all the way down her back.
Mm-hmm.
And she just kept her hair just so beautiful.
Right.
And she was spectacular. Never had a date. Never had a date.
Right.
Her family decided to move to the Midwest to open a Chinese restaurant.
And it's like,
She was prom queen that year.
and she's just like, but I'm so ugly
Yeah.
because I don't have blonde hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. And when she moved back, she told me all these stories about how she was the most popular girl in school and all this stuff. And I'm like, because she was absolutely gorgeous. But in Utah, there was nothing.
Right.
Like she was,
And it wasn't-
she was bottom of the barrel.
And it wasn't because, and this is kind of, and I see what you're talking about. It's definitely that way of cult thinking.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't that she's pretty or not pretty. She just doesn't equal the standards that
They wanted.
as their cult. Yeah.
Right.
Or religion or whatever you want.
And so because you didn't have that body look,
Right.
I didn't have it, she didn't have it. We were the outcast little group. When she came back, she did get a boyfriend. Nice guy, but he wasn't Mormon. And
Right.
really that was the only real time that you would ever date
Because
someone.
you get someone that was just an out-of-towner that
Yeah.
was just traveling through.
Yeah, because there was the military
The
base
circus.
close by, so every once in a while they would come through. You get some non-Mormons, and you'd be like, "Oh," and they'd be like, "Oh, this is Mecca," you know. Yeah.
Wow.
So you grow up with this weird body image, and I can imagine if you're inside the church, how much worse it was. And I was just on the outside
Yeah.
going to school there.
Yeah.
And being inside and being forced with all of that mind control and conditioning that you have to look a certain way to find a mate. And finding a mate is so important in the church.
So I'm very curious where this ideologized version.
Is that a word?
Yes, I said it.
Okay, all right.
So it is a word.
You verb it.
Yeah. You can verbify any word.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Jeez.
Okay, keep going. I'm listening.
This ideologized version of what is pretty. Like, where did that come from? It couldn't have just, like, one day someone went, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, that's pretty, and now we're going to just make that the case. Like, I'm assuming this would have occurred over many, many years. That
I don't know. So another thing that had occurred to me while I was thinking about this, I remember thinking, wow, it's really interesting how the young women were so pretty when they were trying to find a mate.
Yeah.
But their moms were so unattractive.
They're like, well, I'm married. He ain't leaving now, so
Yeah.
I got him.
Yeah. And I think what has happened is now there's the shift of you have to maintain that to keep your husband.
Well, especially if there are divorce lawyers that, because I kind of joked about it, but I assume that there are lawyers that can find a way of getting a divorce but staying within the church kind of doctrine. Because there's like a legal loophole or something that can occur. I just, life tells me that those people exist.
Oh, yeah, they have to.
And if you can find a good, like a lawyer that charges a lot of money that gets you out of a
marriage with an ugly woman,
or no, a marriage with yes, that's right. So if you can go like, well, she's letting herself go, so she's not Mormon, so
I have the right to divorce
I have the
her.
right to divorce her. But they can like show precedent that you have to keep yourself up to now. Like that feels like that would be a thing.
Yeah, I don't know, but I do know. I remember having that thought of how people's mothers had let themselves go when they got married, but that's not the culture now. Now I think it's where you have to be pretty and fit that standard of beauty to find a husband,
Right?
And then you have to maintain that. And then part of the programming, the conditioning that they put on people also is that the more righteous the man is, the prettier his wife is. And I think that's where Chad Daybell got tripped up.
So that's a weird one. So what you're saying is that if you're not righteous, you get an ugly wife?
Yep.
Well, I'm really hella righteous then.
Oh, you're so righteous. You're the most righteous man.
Oh, God, I want that on a t-shirt now.
I'm so righteous.
110% righteous.
Yeah. A lot
I don't even know what that word means, to be honest with you.
But, 110%
but I is
right.
it.
Yeah.
I is it.
Because you got a beautiful wife.
That's what I'm talking about.
Anyway.
Back off.
Back off.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Righteous men get
I have
prettier
issues.
wives.
I really have issues with that.
Right. Well, I think this is where we saw some of the Chad Daybell trip up stuff, is because Chad Daybell felt like he was the most righteous, holy man in the room, and yet he didn't have the most beautiful wife.
That's interesting. That makes a lot of sense now.
It's all kind of like this, like windy, deep thing.
Because when you saw pictures of and video of her, you're like, she's not overweight, she's not ugly.
I mean, no, not at all.
But in perspective, yes. Like, I never thought about this ideologized version of beauty that the Mormons would put on someone, and she didn't match it.
Right.
Wow. That's even more disgusting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Chad Daybell's a disgusting
yeah,
human.
but he's also a product of the conditioning.
Yeah, right.
As well.
Right.
When you are told throughout your life that you have to marry a certain way and look a certain way to be married and to find your godly man, that's what matters, then it really can throw everything else out of the water. Like there's
desperation there, right? And so in that desperation, you turn to plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of that rubbed off on the Jehovah's Witness religion too,
Really?
because you're in Utah, and as a Jehovah's Witness, so that would rub off on you.
That makes sense.
And finding a mate was just as important in the Jehovah's Witness church as it was in the Mormon church.
Yeah.
And in Utah, you had to look a certain way. You had to be blonde hair, blue eyed to find a husband. You'd have to go out of Utah to actually find a husband.
And there's this also idea that within these groups that marriage is the closest thing that you get to God.
Mm-hmm.
That
Well, a lot of times marriage is the way you get to God. Like, you have to be married, have children, because you have to be sealed in the temple,
Mm-hmm.
and then that secures your place in heaven. And you can't get sealed, I guess, if you're not in a marriage sealing. And so
this sounds very familiar to like the crazy cat lady donut ordering kind of guy.
Project 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to see a lot of similarities and where Project 2025, they're pulling their stuff straight out of the Bible, what they want to do. Mormons have the Bible, but then they add on to it with their additional prophecy books. And so,
Well, but they do. I actually disagree that they're pulling from the parts of the Bible that they want to pull from.
right. Yep.
The parts that show that, it's a man's world, when there's a lot of other parts in the Bible that show that's not true. And that if you, like, the people that are in power are the ones that are not the holiest ones. They are the ones that, like, the rich man, a rich man entering heaven is, the same as passing a camel through the needle of an eye. It's that kind of concept of just because a man is rich and powerful is the opposite of you getting into heaven easily. It's the meek will inherit the earth. It's the downtrodden. Those are the people that are the holiest according to everything that I've ever read about the Bible. But then it's like, we'll ignore that because those people are icky. It's the rich and powerful. Those are the ones that are going to get to heaven.
The ones who donate the most.
Yeah, and this goes back to, the kings that would just pay money to do whatever the hell that they wanted to.
And we talked about this last week with Tim Ballard. They have that secondary special sealing if you have enough money where you're allowed in the Mormon church to essentially do whatever you want to.
Yeah.
But I think there's enough scripture there to be able to allow someone to do whatever they want to anyway. They could go back to any scripture and go,
Of course.
I have the right to kill this person. I have the right to call these children zombies. I have the right to do plastic surgery. But it gets really confusing because when you're told you have to be meek and submissive and godly and
Especially to a man that is a prophet.
and demure
So demure.
and mindful. You're going to be demure and mindful. But at the same time, you're told you have to be beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean? What does it mean to be demure and godly and beautiful and
A robot.
a robot? Yeah.
Yeah. This
Like
is
they want,
Stepford Wives bullshit is what this is.
they want Nicole Kidman clones for wives. That's what they want.
Yeah.
And the only way
Australian?
Scientologists.
Oh, Scientology. Yeah, that thing.
And the only way they can get that is through plastic surgery
Yeah, and conditioning.
and conditioning.
Right.
So
Because if you're pretty, blue-eyed, blonde-haired, but you have your own thoughts, you get kicked out.
oh yeah.
And especially if you've been indoctrinated in that way of thinking and you get kicked out, then you get offshoots.
And heaven forbid you grow old. Heaven forbid you get old.
They don't get old. They just fade away and get replaced with younger models.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see where all that's going. That's, that has nothing to do with religion. That has to do with men that just want subservient women and the prettiest woman to replace their failing, ugly woman that, how dare you get old when I'm getting old and ugly.
Yeah. It's weird. It's confusing and difficult. And I think that's why this whole plastic surgery thing is on the rise. Another thing that I was thinking about too is that a lot of those you got ballerina farms, and then you have the other type of influencers.
Mm-hmm.
And behind the scenes, those influencers are getting to where they are through money, but through plastic surgery.
Yeah.
So they don't naturally look.
No.
So they're portraying themselves as these beautiful blonde hair, blue eyed super moms,
And
it's all just an act. Because
I want to be
plastic
I want to
surgery.
be very clear. I have nothing against someone getting plastic surgery.
No.
That's your body. You do whatever it is that you want to do, even when it's taken too far. It's like whatever. That's you. You go right on ahead. And it's like the same thing that we do things to make ourselves feel better, whether it's we're taking Ozempic or we do weird things for diets. Not against any of that. Just, I always say try not to do something that's dangerous. But again, that's your call. I don't have no control over that. And I also like if I see someone that's doing something, I'm like, okay, that's their body, whatever. The issue is that when you try to normalize it, like that I'm doing all this plastic surgery to make myself look pretty, and then you are not equal to me because you're not as pretty as me. And it definitely feels like, not Hildebrandt, but the other one that was arrested.
Ruby Frankie.
Thank you. Like Ruby Frankie seems like that
Right.
down to a T.
Right.
As well.
That is the model.
And that's also why you think that most of them look like your mom.
Because my mom looked like that.
Yeah, but she did it without plastic surgery that
Right.
I'm aware of.
Yeah.
She wasn't like drop dead, like over the top gorgeous, like where the Mormons are trying to get to. She was pretty, but she was also blonde hair,
blue eyed.
So that's why, is because they're trying to fit this model that your mom just happened to.
And a lot of them do. A lot of them are genetically blonde hair, blue eyed.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just taking it to the next level. I think the problem also is the confusing messaging.
Mm-hmm.
It's that you, like I said before, you need to be, your body is a temple, and you can't have piercings except for the normal piercing.
Yeah, one piercing with a normal earring, yeah.
Right. But you can have major plastic surgery.
Right.
So like that's really confusing. Or you can't have a tattoo. They're very they frown upon tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you get excommunicated over a tattoo, but I don't think you can hold a position of power if you get tattoos. I don't know.
That's such a weird one.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can go and have complete liposuction and completely alter your body.
As long as it looks fine from the outside. That's all that matters.
Exactly. As long as it looks like what we
beauty.
want you to look like, then it's okay.
Yep.
And that's really the issue. It's the same like hypocrisy that we saw. And we're going to bring this up a lot because we're in the middle of an election cycle here in the States. It's the same with J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance goes on stage and criticizes people for being transgender, or criticizes people for
LGBTQ, yeah. And wokeness and all this other
for being drag queens. And then it comes out he was in drag.
Yeah.
Like we don't have any
even
issue.
Even as a joke, right? Again, it's like, even if he dressed as drag as a joke, he did it.
He did it.
Yeah.
And
he was also the same one that told his grandmother, "I'm gay," and she said, "No, the hell you're not, and you need to pray, and change your life because you are not gay. I don't care what." And he looked back at that as going, "Oh, this is great."
It's that level of hypocrisy.
Yep.
It's that level of, I'm doing these things, but you can't.
Right. Or I feel a certain way, so let's make it illegal for people to feel this way.
Right.
And that will correct things.
Right.
And that's the issue that I have is that when you find out that a majority of these people are a certain way, and then their entire life they've been fighting against people that are also that way, it's like, well, why are you fighting so hard for something that you feel that you are? It's like, because you're ashamed of it.
Yep. It's hypocrisy.
It's hypocrisy.
So this is one of the 12 apostles in the Mormon church. And so he had said, what did he say? This is Jeffrey Holland. He said, don't become obsessed with tucking and nipping and implanting. Now, he said, don't do it. He never said, don't do it. Don't be obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And then this is his plastic surgery that he had. You can see
Oh, yeah.
really
Yeah, it
clearly.
could also be the lighting too, but
No.
it looks like he had Botox done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had.
I want to know what he could. Maybe I can get my bags done out from underneath my eyes.
Yeah.
Great.
So again, the hypocrisy of saying don't be obsessed with it, and then you go do the same thing.
But he's not obsessed with it, so you can't take his words out of context. That's not right. You have to listen to what he said. Don't get obsessed with it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And he's not obsessed with it. Not yet, anyways.
Maybe he'll like become obsessed with it.
And the word obsessed, you can put a definition on that as well. Like, what does that word mean? What does obsessed mean? Like, do you get it done once a month? That's an obsession. Twice a month? 3 times? Now you're obsessed. And then 2 years from now, it's 10 times a month. You're still not obsessed. You can change that word obsession to mean whatever they say it is.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, you get Botox done once a year. That's obsession. He's obsessed. So it's all dependent on what they change the definition so they can say those words.
It's about high control.
Yeah. The other thing I was thinking about too is you were talking about the temple, right? And
Your body's a temple.
Your body's a temple, and you can't desecrate the temple or whatever the word is, right? But if you're going in and, relaying the foundation of the temple, or you're strutting it up with new walls, that's not desecration. That's building it up to make the temple better. Mm-hmm. But if you are spray painting the outside of the temple or putting big metal rods through it, that's desecration.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So I bet that's because I was thinking about that while you're describing him, was you fixing the temple up by doing liposuction and breast augmentation. That's just taking what was there and building it up from the inside. That is good and wholesome, having enormous breasts. That's very wholesome.
Very wholesome. Yeah.
And what's also weird too is that it's like, if you think about it, they were almost kind of genetically, Cuisinart Hatteracking the way into like this blonde-haired, blue-eyed, perfect specimen. Well, that all goes out the water whenever you start getting plastic surgery done. Because if you're I'm saying this out of jest. I don't believe any of this stuff. But if you're a 5 on the Mormon Church and you need to get a 7 or an 8 to get a man, well, that doesn't help.
Your genetic gene.
Your genetic, yeah. You're like, you're going to make uglier and uglier kids. They're going to have to do more plastic surgery to keep themselves going.
To find a man.
Yeah. So it's going to be like these kids are born as a 2 or something like that.
Oh my God.
And they're like, oh crap, okay, you're going to need a lot of work if you're going to find a man. It's basically going to be just.
It's like genetic malfeasance.
Yeah.
So I wonder if you could someone could get a divorce over it, like genetic malfeasance,
because of all the work that you had done
to find a husband.
Yeah, and you were not a 7 or an 8, which I thought you were, and now all of our kids are ugly. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying these words, but it's because of them. And like, oh yeah, you didn't give me good-looking kids, which
matters
because they're not going to have a future in the Mormon Church because they're not pretty enough.
Yeah, you don't have that picture perfect family because you got ugly kids.
Yeah.
But when 2 ugly people have kids, our kids.
Why are you pointing at me with that?
Two ugly people.
Trying me
my ugliness. I've been conditioned. I've been ugly since I was little, so it's not a big deal.
I haven't been conditioned. I just know it.
Yeah. But then when we have kids, our kids are like, super.
Like, what the hell happened there?
Yeah. Even people come up to us and go, how?
Just
How? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Bless you for adopting 2 children.
Like,
Wait,
I can,
no, these are all really.
I can kind of see it.
Wait a minute, are they though? Seriously, if you like our daughter, she looks like me. Like you can tell that she's our daughter. Our son doesn't look like kind of either of us. He's like, I think he's like 6'2" now, and like olive skin and the dark curly hair, and he's already got a mustache, and yeah. Couldn't be a Mormon though.
No.
There's a future for him.
Yeah. Your future is not a Mormon. I love that. So while we were researching this, we found this old video, and I think we should just watch it and comment on it because it's just so funny.
Okay.
I can't believe it's.
All right. So a little background is that this was done in 1971, released in 1971 through the Mormon Church, the Brigham Young.
Brigham.
Yeah.
BYU.
That one. Not bring them young.
Brigham Young.
Freudian slip. I apologize. So the Brigham Young University. So this is a BYU thing.
And we've only seen the first part of it. We actually haven't seen the whole thing. So
Yeah, we'll watch it together. Well, we might not watch the whole thing. It is 21 minutes.
okay.
So, but we'll watch the beginning. Is kind of amazing, and I might have a new kink.
Right.
Sure.
All right. Yeah. It's a new kink. And just to clarify, John Waters did not direct and produce this film.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe it was his stage name or something like that.
I was looking at going, this looks like a John Waters film.
Yeah. So put seatbelts on your eyes. They're going for a ride. Here we go.
I like red licorice, and I just like regular food, just cornbread, biscuits, and beans, and fried chicken, and, just food.
I eat too much. Too often. When I get nervous, I eat, and when I'm depressed, I eat, and I just eat anytime.
Well, I don't like myself fat. I really, in fact, I could say I hate myself, and I feel really self-conscious around other people. I feel like everyone's watching me, and I feel like, a fat person just isn't lovable.
My parents are overweight. It could have been.
She's not overweight.
Yeah, but I love is like, why don't you eat while talking about how fat you are?
Of myself.
Stuff that gob.
Never controlled myself or my diet or anything.
What is she eating, like pot
I'm
pie?
too fat because I eat too much.
Well, maybe I think food is security. It
it was
kind of
just
numbs me.
I
Lettuce
don't
like a
date
salad.
very much. I date a few times, and most of the guys are just friends. So it doesn't really matter anyway.
My sister came up to see me, and
Okay. So she's the fat one in the story. I want to be very clear on this because I thought she was talking about her fat sister at first.
she's
the
lost
fat
a lot
one.
of weight, and she's just, wherever we went together, everybody was always, she's your sister? Wow. Your sisters? I don't see how you can be sisters. You don't even look at all alike. And here she is, 95 pounds,
So what were they telling you, Claudia?
Your big sister's a fat slob.
Oh my God. My God.
And then play the porn music now.
the fancy boobies. Oh, look at that.
That is definitely John Waters. John Waters directed all of this. Yeah.
What is happening?
I don't know, but I'm into it. Eat that slower.
Swim slower. Like she's gonna come out of the pool with like a big donut in her hand.
I'm always trying to blame my fat problem on my mother and my
Her
unhappy
fat
marriage.
problem.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I think about it, my marriage failed partly because of my fat problem.
Her marriage
There's
ended
no
because
doubt
of her
about it.
fat
I
problem.
love
Yep.
to eat.
Like she's eating as she's going into the.
Mama, where are all the donuts?
Well, sweetheart, they're all gone.
But there were lots of donuts.
Zoom in.
We'll get some more, okay, honey?
Okay.
So you can be fat too, kids.
I'm not buttering toast for my roommates. That's all for me. I use
You know what you
diet
like.
bread, though.
This is like
Trouble is, I eat a whole loaf.
they have those videos of women just eating.
Yeah.
That's what this
And that
is like.
skim milk, a quart of it.
A quart of skim milk.
Well, I get tired easily. Like just walking up a flight of stairs just wears me out. And bending over and doing anything like that, I get really exhausted. And studying, I can't, I get tired doing that too.
He gets tired studying. How
Yeah.
does making you?
Hi. What's for dinner?
I don't know. Let's go to the Red Steer.
I just came back from there.
Then why do you want to go out to dinner?
Well, I was thinking I made a cake. Do you want to?
Ruth, how can you do this to yourself? And
my
me, I'm going to be as fat as you are.
How could
What's
you
wrong
make
with
a
being
cake,
fat?
you
Lots of
fat
great people like that.
slob?
Besides, just one little piece of cake.
God, that roommate
I haven't
sucks.
eaten anything all day.
Jeez. What?
My weight problem is sort of like an iceberg's. Most of it's
Look
at
at-
the bottom.
what? Right on
I
her
like to
butt.
cook, and I like to eat what I cook, especially after I've exercised.
Carl's waffles.
Is she the fat one?
Shauna coming tonight?
I can't.
Diet.
I'm really having a hard time figuring out who's the fat and the skinny one in this show. They need to have a better. They need to have like lines that point to the fatness.
Oh, good,
Just
Shauna.
you're the
Come and
one.
eat.
This is the one. Don't be her. Be her.
I just haven't been honest with myself. Sure, I date a little and make believe I'm happy, but I don't have any really close friends.
Make believe I'm happy.
I dream about being
because
thin
she's
someday.
fat. Oh my god.
And Mormon
How can just one little brownie make any difference?
or four.
No, I'd make fun of myself so that other people wouldn't get a chance to. And it seemed that no matter what I was doing or who I was with,
We're
I
also
was
not blonde,
eating.
so boo.
I ate and I ate. I just kept putting it in.
Seriously, like
Look at the cornflakes. Those look cool.
yeah.
And I'd do everything that I could with
Smiles make
hair
sales.
and makeup and clothes to try and distract
she
people
talking
from
to?
looking at my fat.
Heather cooks in an off-campus apartment for boys. Unfortunately, she eats the same food she fixes for them. And with her metabolism,
God,
she
that's
can't
amazing.
afford it.
Okay, pause. She cooks for an off-site
Yeah.
location for boys.
Yeah.
Oh my god. What?
And she eats.
And she doesn't eat demurely. She eats like a pig. No wonder she doesn't have a husband.
Well, I mean, she's
She's a
over.
bad Mormon.
She's over 15. She should have at least 2 husbands now, right? Is that how it works? No, it's the other way around. Sorry. God, 2 wives for 1 husband, not the other way around. Go ahead. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
She should just start slapping him. Just grab a big donut and a big turkey leg and just start
honestly,
beating them all.
Like, yeah. This is just disgusting.
It is. It's horrible.
It is. And what's really bad is I'm like looking at these women going, damn, you're hot. Like
Yeah,
I mean,
they're-
like you're doing it for me. So just maybe I need to go to like Utah and get the dregs there. They get thrown out.
That's what I am. I'm the Utah Dregs. You did that already.
Just stating the obvious. Jeez.
Oh my god.
What? That's your third bowl. My second.
A third bowl of what?
How come you eat so much? I didn't eat anything. I haven't eaten all day.
Who
What'd you
says
do?
this stuff?
I studied.
What is that? Is that ice cream?
Ice
I
cream.
gain weight every winter and then I lose it in the summer, sort of like
So
a
you-
yo-yo, up and down.
You're like a bear?
One problem with me
She's
is
really cute. She looks like a doll.
I seem to get dates
Look how
even when
cute
I'm
she looks.
fat, so I'm not really that motivated to get thin. I don't know why I eat all the time.
Because you're
I'm
hungry?
not really hungry.
Oh, she said she was hungry.
Well, this is my problem.
Does it taste good?
I'm not being realistic, I don't think. And right now I just don't have any incentive. This week I
Like
haven't
health-wise,
seen
I would say
anything.
she's the only one that, like,
And
Yeah,
I just,
lose weight.
yeah.
I'm happy.
And just for health
everything's
health
going
reasons.
on
The rest
fine.
of them,
I
no.
just don't have.
Yeah.
Right now, I can't think of a reason to lose weight for myself.
And I also want to say too that like the idea of beauty and weight changes throughout history because that her weight back 300 years ago was considered the pinnacle of sexiness. Like
And in other cultures too.
yeah,
She would have been absolutely perfect. But in Utah, she doesn't fit their mold.
Right.
And so she has to change who she is to fit the mold that his exterior, that
Right.
everyone is trying to live up to.
Right.
And
And
you can
society
never-
changes, what we consider to be the appropriate weight changes, every 2, 3, 4 years. So it's this constant thing that you have to chase. Like, you need to put some weight on you. Like, an Italian mother would consider her to be, perfect, right? Like, yeah, you should probably, you eat more spaghetti, So it's just every culture, every generation, every thing. But it seems like they're stuck still in this 1970s idea of the weight, but the women, the girls that are skinny would probably be looked at now as ugly because they have the wrong hair and the wrong eyes. So it keeps evolving that there's more and more guidelines that you have to fit into.
That's the plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're already conditioning the women. They have to look a certain way to find a husband.
Right.
They're
So it
trying
starts
to
with the
change.
weight. Yeah. Yeah.
They
And
are.
the thing is, there might be other videos that we don't know about, like the makeup that you're supposed to wear and the clothes that you're supposed to wear.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And like at this time, I don't think plastic surgery was a huge thing, so that wouldn't have been looked at. But I can guarantee you at this time that it was like one woman's figure was better than another woman's figure, and that's the genetic lottery, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
You can lose weight, but you're still not great.
Yeah.
So you're not going to find a husband.
Yeah.
So you keep watching.
Sure.
And
I'd say let's give it
I
another
guess what
5
I have to
minutes.
do is to want to lose it before I can lose it.
What reason did you
Yeah,
initially start with?
I don't know.
You wouldn't have come
Why
Yeah.
are
looking
you
us
fat?
up.
I mean, I want to
Why
lose
are
weight.
you
That's kind of
disgusting
an abstract,
slag?
Mormon.
desire, but I don't really, really feel it, really deep down. And I don't know if I will be able to lose weight until I really do, get a really strong urge to do it.
Well, I can't very well fight it because I've done the same thing.
I
She's
felt
like
that same
super
way
cute.
she
Like
has
She's
too.
really cute.
At times I've felt like, well, why do I have to lose weight?
Yeah,
You know,
she doesn't have
'Cause
to.
she doesn't
lose
have to.
weight.
People look at me, but it doesn't really bother them. So why should it bother me? I have to
It's like
have
looking
a
at her like,
motivation.
This is part of our commitment action approach to weight control. The girls meet weekly in therapy sessions where behavioral change is
We know how
emphasized.
those Mormon therapists are.
Overweight people tend
I
to
don't know
be
about them.
dishonest,
Yeah, that was
inconsistent,
Jody
and
Hildebrandt and the whole
irresponsible.
Visions of Glory. And
How often have we said or
Forget
heard
that all
people
the crazy
say,
ones were.
I don't know why I can't lose weight. I hardly eat a thing. Or I was nervous and upset. I just couldn't help myself.
this show
All
makes me
kinds
nervous
of
and
alibis
upset.
and excuses.
Actually, it makes me want donuts.
Our sessions
know,
together
donuts
tend
is
to debunk these
I was
excuses
like, I wonder
and
where
instead
that donut shop is still
focus on
available now.
behavioral consistency,
It's still open.
control, and commitment with an emphasis on
Because if she eats the whole box before she's even done with the groceries, those must be the best donuts in the world.
Oh my God.
And I want them.
Yeah, like those Aldi butter squares. Holy crap. There's like the best thing we've
Why
ever
did you even
eaten.
have to mention that? Now
Yeah.
we're gonna have to go get a box
They
and
don't
hide
have,
it from the children.
They don't have them anymore. They're gone. They're so good.
What is life? Seriously,
Without an Aldi butter
why
square?
is life so cruel to us that
Yes,
it
but,
gives and then it takes away?
Yes, but it gave us the Mormon fat fighters.
That is true.
'Cause
That is true.
this is like gold.
Wonder where all these women are now because
I know.
they're gonna be in their 70s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I bet they're all still Mormons, or if they regret doing this, or if they were able to wake up and
Well, now they have Ozempic. Now they can.
go down to like the last 10 minutes. I'm curious, like, does it show they're transforming and then they got married?
Okay, let's see.
So just do something about it, and that's what I'm doing.
I'm really glad that I have lost the weight, but I'm really glad for other things that to me are more important right now. And
God.
as far as the group goes, I'm really thankful that you proved to me that I was being those three things: inconsistent, dishonest, and irresponsible. And I guess that's what I really needed the most. And
Oh my God,
I've
this
been
poor
really
woman.
happy.
Reed, one thing I've really
There's a
noticed is that
mind.
I'm sure that one of the
Mess
things
up.
I was covering
They don't
up
look any
with
different to
that
me.
was my
No, they don't.
inability to react properly to people. I'd get myself in situations and I'd get all upset and tense, and so I would just go eat. And now that I've lost the 30 pounds and I'm back down to almost the same place, it's all come out in the open again. And now instead of eating again to cover it up, I'm going to learn to handle it.
See, that's a different
Time.
issue. Like that is a different issue. That when she feels insecure or worried or something bothers her, she eats. That is a psychological, issue. But conditioning a religion around it is not a solution to that psychological issue.
Yeah.
The issue is that she's probably looked down upon by the religion and the people in it because she's overweight.
Yep.
No, society also does that as well. I'm not going to say it's only the church. We, as a society, definitely look down at people that are overweight as being flawed or something's wrong with them, which would increase the anxiety that the person would feel. So the idea that what she's saying is not exactly wrong, there's like a part of it almost feels like there's a 1% truth to this, which is I think most cults do.
Yeah.
We'll give a bit of truth so that you can agree to something, and then the rest of it is bullshit.
Yeah.
Like what she said about it's selfish for me to eat. It's like,
Wow.
what the hell?
That is
Yeah.
coercive control. at
But then
its
she said
finest.
the right thing, which is that there is something wrong about that I'm feeling this way.
And how she handles stress.
Right. That doesn't go away. And she said it's still there. It's like, yeah, that is not, because that is not a weakness. That is something that you have been conditioned, or your brain has triggered that issue. Then what they're doing to you is not a solution. That's only going to make it worse.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because
I
if-
can tell you, being in a cult where you can never please the leaders, you can never please the group,
Yeah.
and you're always striving. And if you're overweight, and that adds another whole complexity. If
Yeah.
you have that serious addiction to sugar or whatever it is, it adds to that guilt cycle.
Yeah.
And they're playing into it here.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then the pressure on top of it, you're never going to find a husband.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when you do lose the weight and you still haven't found a husband,
Then what?
Then what? And then it's even worse. Then there's another thing wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet you most of these women went right back to eating again because it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
I've lost 2 pounds in the last about 6 months.
The girls have lost a significant amount of weight. Some have reached their goal. The behavior patterns, however, will need to be modified further. But now, Judy is dating for the first time.
See?
Some of the reasons for her being overweight are melting along with the fat. Dawn is engaged
So
to
there
be
you go.
married soon.
She's
Because you
engaged.
were
Heather also
dating.
is engaged. Claudia, she doesn't hide behind her size like she used to. Being feminine
still
can
skin.
be fun. Personality change is synonymous with behavioral change. Life is much more meaningful when we are in control of our behavior. Whether we are eating, playing, working, or just getting along with others, it helps to be in control. With an emphasis on commitment action encounters, we have watched our fat fighters struggle with some complex problems. Exercising, planning, changing, hurting, succeeding, and setbacks are all a part of the battle.
Yeah,
The girls are getting to know
I
themselves.
did my arm movement.
Donut my arm movement to the donut. So that was the outcome I was expecting.
Yeah.
She's now dating.
Yep.
Now she's engaged, and
Yep.
now she's going to get married because she lost the weight. She
And
conformed.
now that she's dating, all of the problems are going away. Yep. Because that's the outcome you want.
Yep, exactly. So this is a precedent that the Mormons started very early.
Mm-hmm.
And so can you imagine being a young woman in the 70s when this was created, and then having to grow old in this organization that treats you this way?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's just heartbreaking.
So the director of photography was Robert M. Stum. I bet that's a pseudonym for
John Waters.
John Waters. It definitely started off as that. I want to see, do they have a director? Produced by Wetzel Whitaker. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's about as bad as I was expecting it to turn out. The intro was amazing, though. Like, I still have to say that was like, that was.
I want to go back and watch all those secret Mormon videos now.
Yeah.
If they're as funny as this one.
The fat fighters.
The fat fighters. Oh my God. But it shows there's this historical precedence for this body modification that now is fully embraced by the Mormon Church. And it's getting heightened with social media. So social media is only another aspect of that perfection complex that's put on it.
I wonder how much Ozempic use is used in Salt Lake City area.
Probably just as much as everywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. But I bet you that because the issue is finding it a lot of times, and a lot of times it's also, insurance, so you can't afford it. I wonder if they have like whole areas that are set up just to get you the drug, like
through the Mormon Church. So there's a Mormon Church Ozempic dealership. Oh my goodness.
Like South Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see that actually.
Like they all go to get their doses and
from church. Yeah.
From church. Yeah.
So they like get counseling on their breast augmentation and they get their Ozempic shot at the same time. Cults and their societal pressures.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
Yep.
Well, I think like the bottom line is people need to think for themselves. If you want to get plastic surgery, you do it. But when you're conditioned and peer pressured by your ward to do it, that's when things get dangerous. Yeah. Or when you feel like you have to conform to meet a certain body standard to find a husband, that's another really dangerous thing. And I've lived through that. And the reality is this.
Come on, me.
Yes. Yes, I'm talking about you.
I expect a lot.
I have a retort, which I will keep inside my head.
You can tell me later.
I'll tell you later. But the reality is we live in this huge world. And there are more than Mormon men out there. And men come in all shapes and sizes, and men like women in all shapes and sizes.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. And so finding a husband is not conditioning. You don't have to be conditioned to find a husband. You can find a husband out there who loves you for who you are and for your body, yourself. And it's possible.
Sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah. And I learned, it's a lesson I've had to learn.
And we still are learning it.
Oh, yeah.
Because we still are conditioned by society. We are. We still try to hold ourselves to societal norms. I guess my offer of my opinion would to be find the societal norms that fit what you want your body to look like, and just accept that that's the ones you're living by. So, mine is Greek god. Those really big fat ones. That's what I'm living my life up to.
You are.
That is my societal norm.
A Greek god.
Yeah.
A well-endowed Greek god.
Or that, or Buddha, the Chinese one, not the Indian one. Not when he lost all the weight and he got
and he went to India and he got swole.
And he got swole. No, mine's I am living myself to the Buddhist god.
There you go.
I am the Buddha reincarnated.
There you go.
And just be okay with who you are, because
that's easier said than done.
No, it isn't. You just do it. That's what everybody tells you. Just smile more.
Smile. Well, you need to smile more, bitch. All right. Thank you for watching.
Yep.
And help us get to 1,000. That's our next benchmark.
I think we're 69 away.
Yep. We're very close. So if you're at the end,
just
please
reading
subscribe.
The number.
Please subscribe. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.